It's your girl, Mrs. Tony 2 times, and I'm back with another episode of Hood Tales. In this video, let's take it right outside of Knoxville to Powell, Tennessee, to discuss the case of a young woman who snapped after discovering her boyfriend's infidelity and with whom. But before we get into this video, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Turn on your notifications so you don't miss any future uploads. Also, this video is sponsored by me, Mrs. Tony 2times, and my YouTube channel. Make sure you check it out and support me. I'll leave the link to it in the comments. Stay tuned until the end to hear the full story. All right, let's go ahead and get into it. In a quiet Knoxville suburb, a couple's troubled relationship reached a devastating end. What began as a seemingly ordinary Saturday took a turn for the worse when jealousy, betrayal, and heartbreak collided in one fatal decision. This is the story of Dasani Baggett, a 20-year-old aspiring rap artist, and the man she says broke her heart, Stephen Morgan. By nightfall, she would be in handcuffs and he would take his last breath. Dasani Baggett was just 20 years old. Born and raised in Knoxville, Tennessee, she had dreams beyond her city limits. Friends say she had a passion for music, using her voice to express pain, power, and ambition. Online, she was building a small presence as an up-and-coming rapper. At some point, Dasani began dating 31-year-old Stephen Morgan. Not much is known publicly about him, but what's clear is that their relationship was intense and ultimately toxic. Like many couples, they shared a home, a bed, and eventually secrets. But what no one could predict was just how far things would go when those secrets were uncovered. On the afternoon of Saturday, May 3rd, 2025, deputies were called to a quiet home on Weaver Howell Way in Powell. A woman, later identified as Dasani Baggett, was seen screaming for help in her driveway. Inside, the scene was grim. Stephen Morgan lay motionless on the living room floor, suffering from a shot wound to his chest. He was pronounced gone at the scene. Dasani was immediately detained, and what she told police painted a picture of infidelity, emotional turmoil, and premeditated confrontation. According to court documents, Dasani explained that Stephen had recently broken his phone and had been using hers. Sometime that day, she says she discovered messages in his Yahoo account, messages that suggested he had been cheating on her. And not just cheating, reportedly with another man. Enraged and heartbroken, Dasani told deputies she retrieved a firearm from their bedroom nightstand. She sat on the couch, firearm in hand, and waited for an entire hour. When Stephen returned home from work, she didn't just confront him. She reportedly showed him the weapon, even racking it multiple times to prove it was loaded. What she wanted from him is still unclear, but according to deputies, she made demands about the situation of their relationship. When the argument escalated, Stephen reportedly tried to grab the firearm. That's when Dasani pulled the trigger, hitting him in the left hand and chest. The incident left Stephen gone within minutes. Witnesses say Dasani ran outside, screaming for help as the deputies arrived just after 5:40 p.m. She was arrested on the spot and taken into custody at the Roger D. Wilson Detention Facility. Her bond was set at $300,000. Authorities charge her with first-degree hit, a charge that indicates premeditation and intent. While Dasani claimed Stephen reached for the weapon, The details of her waiting for an hour, loading the weapon, and confronting him first painted a different story in the eyes of the law. Some may question whether this was a crime of passion, a young woman pushed past her breaking point. Others may view it as a cold and calculated act driven by jealousy and rage. At the time of this recording, Dasani remains in jail awaiting trial. No official plea has been entered, and her legal team has not made public statements. The case continues to unfold. Dasani Badgett is innocent until proven guilty. May Stephen Morgan rest in peace. My condolences to his family. One life lost, another forever changed. What started as love ended in tragedy, a reminder of how unchecked emotions, jealousy, and anger can lead to irreversible consequences. In the end, the truth may come out in court, but for Stephen, that day will never come. And for Dasani, her future, once filled with hope and music, is now on the line. Reactions to the story can be divided. Some can sympathize with Dasani, saying cheating can provoke emotional breakdowns, especially under the alleged circumstances if she wasn't aware of his preferences. But others may emphasize that nothing justifies taking a life, especially when the person is unarmed and trying to de-escalate or defend themselves. Dasani still had her whole life ahead of her at just 20 years old, if she only had chosen not to crash out and move on. Now she may possibly spend the rest of her life in prison. Fam, I'm going to leave the rest up to you. What are your thoughts on this crazy story? Let me know in the comments below. Alright fam, that's it for this episode of Hood Tales. Thank you so much for watching. If this story moved you, consider liking and sharing. Subscribe for more stories like this and for stories behind the headlines, because behind them all, our lives forever changed. This is your girl, Mrs. Tony 2 Times. Until next time.